Last night I had another one of my religious stroke spiritual stroke supernatural experiences, and I guess it was about 3 a.m. and what actually happened was I became conscious within my own conscious. So I was fast asleep, but then my consciousness just came on, and I was in the brightest of spaces. There were angels, angelic song, echoing in the vastness, sweeping around and coming from eternity and passing me by and carrying on to eternity. And it was just a pure whiteness, a phosphorus brightness. There was nothing to see, but there was a feeling of absolute calm, connection, oneness and openness. And the message coming from the song, which was indefinable, it was an intuitive song. The feeling of my essence, whatever it was, no body, no heart, no ego, just openness, absolute openness, and it felt so wonderful. I have experienced similar sort of things in samadhi. Some DMT experiences, some of these spiritual religious experiences, like when the angels came to me, which I've written about in my book, and I've made lots of videos about that. The feeling of just bliss, just pure joy, unadulterated joy. You see, people, when we enter into samadhi, the ego goes offline and the pure joy is there. And so we can only assume that the essence of the human being without the ego is pure joy. It's the ego that complicates everything. It's the ego which has created language and concepts, and I'm always saying that the language and the concepts are that which build the fiction of the human avatar experience. And in recent times, on my new channel, which I'm going to tell you where it is, the link is in the description. I'm over on Odyssey now. So this video is going up on Rumble, on YouTube and on Odyssey. Now, this whole openness, the feeling of emancipation, it was such a beautiful feeling, such an emancipating feeling, and to be quite frank, people, it was really difficult to come back as a human being and realise that this experience isn't that. That experience pertains to something else. Does it pertain to Holy Spirit? Does it pertain to death? Is that where we go when we die? When we're here, we can't experience that. If only for very fleeting moments. And lots of people have had these samadhi moments and they're like, I just want to get that back. I just want that back. But we can't make it come back. We can't force samadhi. Those things come about, if you're lucky, once in a lifetime. I've had two. But I've had similar sort of things in different realms of consciousness. And I'm like, that's samadhi. So there's a place where we can feel like that. I came out of that experience with tears in my eyes of the joy of that experience, of that connection to God. And I'm like, why me? Why me? Why me? Do you want me? What do you want me to do? Do you want me to be a Christian? It never said anything like that. It never made any inferences. It was just open, open, open. The expanse was open. The light, of course, was open. The songs were just carefree and drifting, free and open. The feeling, even though the body apparently wasn't there, the feeling was just a blissful openness. And so, I wake up and I'm like, what does that mean? Is it another calling to God, to Christ? Why do I keep having these things that pertain to Judaism and Christianity? I thought for the rest of the day, and it's past midday now, and it dawned on me slowly through the day that, you see, these experiences for me, they're subliminal messages. And those of you that have read my book and listened to me speaking about my encounters with Yahweh, Jesus, angels and the devil, very, very, very powerful experiences. And they all gave me subliminal messages, which weren't easy to discern immediately. They take time. And then there's certain synchronicities which play out. It's like a Hansel and Gretel trail. You know you're being led. And it's like every person that you speak to, every video that you watch, every book that is placed into your lap, you just find these books. And within these books, there's the answer. And so, I don't know whether I'm going to be getting more of these synchronicities over and above what I seem to intuit from this experience, because what I've been doing probably all my life people, and in recent times I told my therapist that one of my propensities is that I self-sabotage. I sabotage all of my relationships, and I don't do it in a nasty way. I do it in a gradual sort of way, so we can walk away from each other, because I find having relationships quite burdensome, particularly if they're the relationships which involve quite a lot of communication, texting, and you know, I don't like that. I feel affronted by that. If you've got your phone, beep, and then there's beep, one beep is enough. Honestly, one beep a week is enough. But if I've got beep, 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 beep consecutively, I want to pick this phone up and throw it the fuck right out the window. I'm like, how dare you? No, I'm doing things. I'm doing a billion things. I'm always doing a billion things. I'm always in the midst of doing something, and I don't want that level of distraction. I don't mind emails. Emails are fine. I can get to emails whenever I want to, and I don't get ping, 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 ping. But these text messages, I have a great adversity to them. Now, I sabotage all of my YouTube channels and other channels. I take them all down myself. I destroy all my work. I make so many videos designed to entice people to turn away from me. And I suppose over the years many thousands have done this, only there seem to be quite a lot of people that are not turned away. They become even more intrigued and they get more dug in, and it doesn't matter what vitriol I can come out with in an endeavour to destroy my channels. People like that stuff. Their eyes begin to sparkle, the blood begins to pump, and you know, there's something bizarre going on with the human being, and it's becoming more and more profound. In recent times, I've spat some vitriol out on my new Odyssey channel, and not a single subscriber has left. In actual fact, more subscribers have come about because of that. I'm like, wow. And then when I'm looking at the things I'm looking at about the world, and we can see that people killing people just for how they think and what they say and how they feel in relation to a religion or an ideology, and everybody wants to kill everybody. And then with this recent Charlie Kirk shooting, the amount of social media, ha 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 ha, you know, he deserved to die, he was this, he was that, fuck that cunt, and all this different sorts of stuff. The world increasingly is becoming more and more full of hate. And so I was becoming full of hate, and I was generating hate because it seemed to me that that's what the world needs to keep it oiled. When, you know, so many people will speak about love. Love keeps it oiled. And I'm like, fuck love. Fucking love's bullshit. It's a lie, you know. Don't fucking trust it when people tell you about love. And to be honest, people, I don't know where love fits in to the human avatar egoic existence. I really don't know where it fits in. To be quite frank, I've never really found it. In all my life, I've never found this love in anybody. People will tell you that they love you and pretend that they love you, and they're maybe even delusional enough to think that they do because they don't know what love is. But ultimately, it never works out. It never turns out. It never lasts. It never reveals itself to be a true love. It always reveals itself to be a folly. It's always fake. And you ask yourself, that was never love. How could it have ever been love? Because love's love. Love can't just come about and then disappear. Love's love. Love's the power of the universe, of the cosmos. It's the root of human beings, apparently. I don't think it is. I think evil is, to be fair, people. I really do. But I've experienced this love many times now, and I'm like, for God's sake, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to torment me? Is this hell itself? Why are you giving me these feelings of this love and this bliss if it isn't actually attainable here on this planet in this human avatar form with the ego? What have we got to do? What are you saying? Why are you telling me that stuff? But you see what this message was last night, this early morning. It was about being open. About being free. And I'm like, well, yeah, I get you on that. I try to be open. I live like I'm open. But I make lots of videos which are closed. I'm closing down potential relationships. I'm closing down potential affiliations. I'm closing down the growth of whatever I'm doing. Why? Maybe I'm terrified of the growth. Too many people will be sending me emails. People might get hold of my phone number. People might want to be my friend. People might say, oh, I'm in your neighbourhood, let's meet, and all this sort of thing. And I'll be like, I just want to be left alone, really. I just want to be left alone, really. I'm a very insular, isolated person. Albeit there are times when I do interact with no strings by the way. This doesn't mean we're friends, this doesn't mean that you can text me, this doesn't mean that I'm obliged to text you and say how are you. No, we're free, right? There's no tethers, right? That's how I've always been, and people have always said that about me. People can never get close. So being free and being open is what my core essence is. But it's a paradox, because to be free and open, to experience the openness and the freeness, you have to be closed. Because you can't be free with friends and associates that want to label you here and pull you in here and take your time away there. And it's kind of like, I'm free, I'm pure, I'm just drifting around. It's very paradoxical. I told my therapist that I do this, but she wasn't broad enough. She was still a baby. She couldn't deal with any of the metaphysical things I was speaking about. And so in the end, she finished the session. And she said, this is the first time I've ever had to finish a session. I'm like, well, it wasn't the first time, because on the very first meeting with me, you finished the session because you didn't know what the fuck to do, because I told you I'm going to be filming these sessions. So the first one was the first one she ever had to end, because she didn't know what to make of that. She never come upon that. How many years she's been a therapist, I've no idea. But you would have thought these people in this fraternity would know about people's rights to film their own therapy sessions. She didn't know that. She knows it now. The whole institution knows it now. Why? Because of me. So the last session, number 16, I made it plain that whatever she thought she was doing wasn't doing anything. In all due respect, he just wasn't touching me. And she was very affronted, disappointed and angry about that. And so she finished the session, and that video I will put up so you can see that, and then you can see me speaking about it. I'm waiting now, it's been 3 weeks, I'm waiting for a letter to come from that institution telling me what the next move is. And I've said to her, I want another placement, and I want another analysis, another consultation with my psychiatrist, because I want to tell him again what I want from that institution. But they're not broad enough to give that, you see, because they're not really psychoanalysts, they're not really psychiatrists, they're just pretending to be. And if listening to you for 20 minutes doesn't result in them offering you pills and potions, well, they're at a loss. They don't know what to do. That's all they've been told what to do by the pharmaceutical companies. Just prescribe, prescribe, prescribe. You are our prescribers. We call you psychiatrists, you call yourself a psychiatrist. You are a prescriber of pills and potions. You belong to us. That's all that's going on, people. Anyway, I'm digressing. I told her I was a saboteur. And yet she didn't take that into consideration. she wasn't big enough to see the session through. I said, just see the session through. Let's just talk about other things. She couldn't do it. And we had maybe 4 more hours, maybe 6 more hours left. She couldn't do that because she was so embittered that I was rejecting the only thing she had. The only thing she had. And I said, isn't it bizarre? The doctors recommend that I come to see you, and you show me the door. You show a client the door. Not for anything untoward, just for being too broad, just for being too expansive, just for making them feel so small, so bereft. So, this openness thing, I'm thinking, I've been closing myself down, closing, unconsciously. Consciously, yeah, I knew what I was doing. I closed those therapy sessions down. I did it myself because I knew she couldn't rise up to where I wanted to go, and so I wanted to end it. And I want to see if anybody else can remotely, because I was wasting my time with her. As soon as I made up my mind I'm wasting my time, then I needed to be put somewhere else. And so, the essence from what I'm saying was open, open, open. And I go, well, recently I've closed down my therapy. I've had another long-term relationship put on the back burner. Let's just say put on the back burner. I closed my YouTube channel down, effectively, my Rumble channel, and I went into further obscurity, and even on that channel I'm sabotaging it again. And so the message was, stop sabotaging. Just be open. Just be free. Because you're not free. You think you're free, but you're not free. Why aren't you free? Because you always want to close things down. Close things down. Why can't you just let them be? Why do you always have to close doors, Aaron? You're closing all the doors. You're going inside. It's kind of like being in a billion rooms, like in a maze, like in a labyrinth. And you go through one door, poof, you close out the world. You look around, oh, there's some more doors over there. You go through them and you close them behind you. You close them, you close them, you close them, you close them. And it's like, and it's kind of like, I think I'm alone now. Knock, knock, knock. Shit. I can't be alone. I'm on the world having a human experience. I most certainly can't be alone by doing what I'm doing here with these videos. It's a paradox. Everything's a paradox. I am making videos and inspiring some people. And then if they get a little bit inspired and then they start making advances towards me, I'm like, choom, 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 choom. And people are perplexed. They're kind of like, what do you want, Aaron? You act weird. You give us this information which inspires us, and it's brilliant information because we don't get this sort of information from hardly anybody else. And when we find it with you, we want to follow it. We want our own Hansel and Gretel trail. It's brilliant. Picking up, these morsels of wisdom and, experience and knowledge and things like that is great. And then you close the door. You shapeshift into something else. You jump ship. That's what you do. You're always jumping ship. Awake and brave. You set out to discover the world, to discover new worlds. And then, at some stage on the journey, you jump onto a desert island and you go, I'll see you guys. And then you walk off up the beach into the jungle. You leave everybody on the boat without direction, bewildered. And I go off then to form another little group somewhere else. Maybe a group of natives, maybe a group of headhunters, savages, Man Fridays. I don't know why I do that, people. I don't know why I do that. There's lots of reasons. Nothing definitive. But this prophetic, religious, spiritual, supernatural thing, it told me just to be open. Just to be open. Stop closing. It never told me to stop closing. It just said, be open. It showed me what being open felt like. Infinite bliss. And I'm like, how could I have infinite bliss and be open? Being a human being. Well, you don't carry the weight of things. You just let things be. You just let it be. Acceptance. I find it very difficult to accept the narrow parameters of human cognition and their lack of spiritual realization. I find it difficult to let that be. But then you see, when I look at my frustration, it's highly dependent on that. If I could let that go, I would be free. It wouldn't bother me that people didn't get it, that people hated it, that people weren't interested in it. It wouldn't bother me. Oh, I would just be free. And I'm just putting stuff out there for those who have ears. And it doesn't even matter who has ears. It's not my job to quantify. It seems like it's my job just to offer. Just to be free. Just to say. Just to speak. Free. 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 However, that freedom that I exhibit is interpreted isn't my concern. I was listening to an interview with Russell Brand and a woman, a very controversial woman, Laura Loombar, something like that. She has jet black hair and, you know, pretty face, very intellectual, and she's been banned from everything. I can't think who she was, but she said, I used to carry the weight of all that stuff because it doesn't matter what I said. She says, I used to carry the weight of it until in the end, I just realised that if I was like opening up a dog shelter for stray, injured, sick dogs, there'd always be someone that says something negative. Oh, so you're opening up a dog shelter to let all those rabid, rabies, flea bit mugs, whatever, and those evil pit bull terriers, you want to continue to give those life, and well, they're responsible for this, you know, and that, you know, and there's always going to be someone saying something. If you carry the weight of it, people, you're closed. It's a burden. Animosity is created. Maybe hate's created. Ill feeling is created. But if you can have the strength just to let it all go, let all consequences go, because we don't have control. Free, 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 open, open, open. Just be open to the world. We have no control. Whatever will be, will be. As long as what we are being feels free, it feels honest, and all the rest of those human virtues that I don't even want to say, compassion and love and, you know, and all that. I found those concepts very difficult, people, very difficult. But I've realised I don't need to embrace compassion. I don't need to like anybody. I don't need to wish the best for everybody. I don't need to have pity for everybody, anybody. I don't need to get engaged with that. All I need to do is just to be open and free. Open and free. Because with all of these categories, there's connotations to them, and restrictions, and labels, and feelings, and all that sort of stuff. Oh, compassion. Oh, I feel for you. The compassion of Christ. Oh, look what's happening to us. Oh, oh. Just because you're compassionate, what you bring the world's problems on your shoulders. You feel the world's problems in your heart. Oh, forgive them, Lord. Oh, no, no. If someone's speaking about compassion with a beaming, open smile, I'll say to myself, that looks all right. I like the look at that. I like the feel of that. Open, free. A person like that isn't touched by anything. You see, people, look, I'll finish off like this. When I was 27 years old, the Jehovah's Witnesses came to my door and they presented me with these books. It's in my book, by the way. It's a fantastic book. It's full of wisdom and all different sorts of things pertaining to all different sorts of paranormal realms and human psychology and all that stuff. I looked at these books and I flicked through the pages and I saw the illustrations of the people. They're all beaming with this smile that I'd never ever seen before in my whole life of travelling all around the world. I rejected that smile and I rejected that faith on the premise of that. However, something inside me moved me to accept those books and read them, and then accept the Bible and read that. And now for 35 years I've continued to read this spiritual stuff, and I wear one of these. This has great meaning. It's not what you think it is, really, people, to be quite honest. It's vastly deeper than what most people think. But one day when I took DMT and I realised that the world was perfect, when I was in that samadhi state, and I asked myself, how could the world be perfect? And then I had the realisation, it is perfect when you stop projecting onto it your misgivings, your biases, your pain, your suffering, your hate, whatever it is, your hopes, your dreams, stop it. Just stop it. Stop projecting all of that stuff on to it and just look and feel how it is and accept how it is. It's beyond your control. Who are you? Who are you? It's like when Job from the Old Testament, he's having a go at Yahweh because Yahweh covered him in boils and killed his whole family and this, that and the other. And Job's like, God says, who are you to question me? Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you, Job, to question me? And Job's like, well, yeah, all this stuff you did, it seems real cuntish, to be quite frank, but yeah, who the fuck am I to try to work out the mind of God? Cosmic intelligence, people. Just another word. God, cosmic intelligence. Who are we to try to work out cosmic intelligence? What the cosmos is doing here? Who the fuck are we? So, how many people just are projecting their envy, their bitterness, and their hopes and their dreams and everything? That's all people are doing. That's all people are doing. And no one is just stopping, opening their hearts and emptying their minds and just looking and feeling at the world just like it is. And just saying, who the fuck am I? Who the fuck am I to say how the world should be? Who the fuck am I to say how you should be? Who the fuck am I to say what you should do? And so the message then, what I derive from this supernatural, paranormal, spiritual, religious, phenomenological experience is that yet again I'm being guided as to where and as by whom I could never speculate. But the guidance is honest, good and true. Honest, good and true. And I can see the reality, and I've felt the reality. And even though the reality within every day of my life would be very obscure, I know that it is there. I know that it is within me somewhere. And this is the whole thing about faith. Knowing that God, having faith that God is there, God loves you, you are going to be with God one day, and just deal with all this stuff because it's for a reason, you know? Okay. Right. So on we go then. So on we go. Having those experiences gives me a certain fortitude, and it enables me to introspect and look to see where I'm going wrong. You see, certain people would say that hell is nothingness, whereas heaven is joy and beauty and everyone's loving everybody and all that stuff, right? I've always had the greatest aversion of doing that. But if I didn't care about the ramifications, if I had no connection to the ramifications, if I just accepted. It's like that Jim Carrey movie, Yes, Yes Man. When you just say yes, you just open. You don't go, no, you don't do any of that. You just go, yeah, 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 yeah. But what happens when you say yeah, yeah? Huh. So, that face I mentioned early on, about if you saw someone when they were being compassionate and they were like, you said to yourself, that looks like a good trait. I could get involved with that. Why? Because it's unencumbered. There's no burdens to it. There's no burdens, there's no connotations, there's no ties, there's no contracts. It's just yes. Yes. Yes, world. With all your murder and your mayhem and all these conspiracies and your contrivances, yes. Yes, because who am I? Who am I, Cosmos? Who am I, Lord? So, people, I'm going to see if I can be more open. And so a start of being open is to open all my channels up again and to share whatever I'm sharing with whatever platform's appropriate. Sometimes I make videos about illegal substances. Well, I can do that on Rumble or Odyssey. If I want to speak to the average Joe and get the numbers out, give more people the opportunity, then I can do that on YouTube. So now I have 3 platforms, and I don't have to run the risk of getting my YouTube taken down anymore, because I don't need to put any controversial videos up on that channel. And so, it's new territory really for me, people. It's new territory. To be completely detached from what I do. I'm just saying things. I'm just saying things. And some people may consider the things I say useful. To find the fortitude to be open, I guess is quite a strength. How many people are just open to any level of attack? It doesn't matter. At least I've got that far. At least I've never been bothered about being attacked, because I've always preempted attacks. I've always gone, I know there's loads of you are full of hate out there. You're all bigoted, you've all got your biases, and you're all this and you're that. Well, have a bit of this fucker then. See what you reckon to that. And you can call me all the cunts under the fucking sun, because I don't give a fuck. Because I don't need you, I don't need anybody. Never have. Not going to start now. So I've never been bothered. I've never been constraining anything I've ever said in any shape or form. And I guess I won't. I guess I won't. And I guess I could still spit all the vitriol under the sun. But just fucking leave it out there. Just leave it. You know, I often, have these rants and spit vitriol and things like that. Just because I can. Just because I can. Just because I'm not one of these trillion gazillion people afraid to do that. Even though it's becoming quite popular, isn't it, to be quite frank? And people would say to you, 20 years ago you never had this shit, because you never had this social media platform. If anyone was going to say anything, then they'd have to be accounted for, and they'd have to say it to you in your face, in the boozer, or on a fucking debate panel or something like that. But now everyone can hide behind some stupid handle with no name, no face, and they're at liberty to say what the fuck they want. Or at least they were before YouTube started to clamp down on hate speech. And so you see how quickly the human being runs away with himself, itself, herself. Because in 20 years, we've got to a point whereby people are killing people just because they don't like what they say or what they stand for. And social media has been promoting this. This is why in Britain is really taking a strong arm on hate speech. Now we could say, oh, Britain's lost it, Britain's a dictatorial fascist state, Britain's a shithole, Britain's this, that and the other. But if you look at it from another perspective, if we looked at it from the perspective where Britain is very, very wise, because it's an old nation, it can see what's going on here. And if it lets things continue with this freedom of speech and this hate stuff, well, it's just going to escalate until there's no end to it. And so our country, Great Britain, seems like it's pioneering in this, and it's having zero tolerance for any of that. Now, time will tell where that takes this nation. The thing that they're doing wrong, of course, is that they aren't being fair. They are giving the immigrants, gotta be careful what I say here on YouTube. Oh yes. What can I say? There's rules for one, rules for another. We know that in Britain. We absolutely know that. As to why they're really doing that, maybe it will always remain unknown. Maybe one day it will come out in the wash. But if we look around the world and we see how nations are handling this new phenomenon of social media. Some platforms allow it to be free, say whatever you want. Post whatever you want within reason. On Odyssey you can post whatever you want within reason, unless it's overtly designed to harm people in a physical way. Words, you can say whatever. Drugs, you can do whatever. The whole premise of X, I believe, is pretty free like that, unless there's serious repercussions from some element of harm. Not just, 1 in 1,000 people, 1 in a million people might do this and might do that, so we'll close everything down, like YouTube. No, it's different people. So we look around the world and we see what's going to rise to the top, what's going to be the most conducive to the human being. What are we going to settle at? We're not going to stand for complete and utter fascism. We're not going to stand for that. We're too broad, we know too much, the world knows too much. It's not like 100 years ago where communism, fascism is going to sweep over a nation. It's not happening. So we're heading into a new realm of consciousness, people. What that new realm of consciousness is going to be is anyone's guess. But I'm excited to see how it turns out. Anyway, I just thought I'd say that.